So we have seen an abundance of mousepad releases this year, ranging all the way from cloth control pads all the way to fast glass pads. But what exactly have your favorite reviewers been using this year for the most part? Well, today I'm going to let them share what their main pad of 2023 was. Starting off with myself, there was really only one pad I kept going back to this year, and that would be the LethalGamingGear Saturn Pro in the soft variant. Main reason I kept going back to this pad is just because it is a good pad at the end of the day. Pretty much nothing I can pick on or critique at all. Quality on this pad is almost on par with the likes of the Artisan pads, sporting a pawn base and very nice tight and minimal stitching. The surface of this pad is top tier, sporting a true control surface that never felt like it was too slow or too controlled, and it also never felt like it was too fast in any way. Pretty much it just feels like a great balanced control pad that works with my playstyle in pretty much any game I throw at it. It's always been a pad I can just go back to when I am feeling very inconsistent on other pads or surfaces, or just a pad I need to go back to when I want to be comfortable with my aim. Anyways, enough of my yapping, onto our first reviewer.
Hello guys, my name is Pistaciio, and thanks to my homeboy Baby Hands for the invite on his little collaboration with me along with a bunch of our other peripheral pals. Now today I'm here to tell you about my favorite pad, and that is going to be Infinity Mice's Speed Pad, which is on my desk currently. Now initially it was the first variant in the red with a soft base, and a smaller size of course, but now we have the version 2. This is a 500 by 500 square with a hella dense 4mm thick IPU base, so it honestly won't go anywhere and just sticks like glue. Now the experience to me personally is really awesome. Especially paired with X-Ray Pad's Jade speed dots, it's close to frictionless and my mice just go crazy. So especially for me playing more tracking heavy games like Apex, it's just buttery smooth. This one isn't coming off my desk anytime soon honestly, unless perchance I do get it in a pistachio colorway. But anyways, thanks again for watching guys, take care and peace. Here's to the next.
Yo, what's up guys? If you don't know me already, my name is Jake, aka Jakeu. I've been in the peripheral hobby for many years, but I only just started doing content and also being really active over on Twitter this year. Despite everybody creating these incredibly high quality pads, most of them are clones of each other, so therefore I'm sticking to something unique and original like the Artisan pads here. My absolute favorite surface of all time is the Hayate, and I only just recently got the mid version of it, which I really do love because it's so incredibly consistent, and I do think that the Hayate surface is something that is absolutely perfect for tracking games, especially in Apex and also Fortnite. But as soon as I switch over to CSGO or CS2 now, I definitely prefer being on the Artisan Zero in the new orange version, because I do think that it is a absolute perfectly balanced control pad that is definitely not too slow, especially not for my personal likings. And for something like Counter-Strike, I like to stick with the soft version. But since those choices were quite uninspiring, I also wanted to shout out the 4114 Arrow for being an incredibly unique pad. Speed-wise, it sits right in between the Raiden and the Hayate, and I'm just really glad to have been offered this pad for review, because out of the 100 clones that we got here in 2023, this is not one of them. And it is also a unique sizing with 530 by 490. And in terms of speed pads, this is probably the best I've ever tried. I also wanted to give a quick shout out to the Saoi GSR2 for successfully reviving this pad. It is an awesome control pad that is again not too slow, but definitely a bit more controlled than the Zero. And this really unique foamy rubber base, or whatever you want to call it, it is very firm, so the pad is overall incredibly consistent. And I just wish we had more pads that were firm pads and not pour-on. So for 2024, I really hope that we get more unique pads that are simply not clones all the fucking time. I also really hope that we can get rid of all these pre-order limited anime edition mouse pads, because all they're doing is just getting your cash and heading right out the door again. So what I really want to see next year are some very unique bases, more firm base options just like the freefall pad for example, and just overall having way more options than pour-on and polyurethane, because there's only so much you can do with those bases. I also like the fact that we got a ton of glass pads this year, so many people have more viable options now that are more readily available to them, or also just cheaper. So that's about it for my part, and I hope to see you again next year. Thanks to Snacks for inviting me onto this thing. I really still am very overwhelmed by this entire support that I'm getting from the community, and I just really fucking love this community so much. Especially since I've been a part of r/mouse review since they had like 4,000 members and I saw that whole thing go to shits. I'm really grateful that we now have this. Peace out.
Hi, I'm Viscose, and I've tried an absurd amount of mousepads this year with a focus specifically on glass mousepads. The concept has always appealed to me due to its low friction, but after trying the SkyPad, the Serapad and its kin version, the Machina Ultima Pad and the Vansa Ice, none of them were quite what I was looking for. The ideal mousepad for me would be something that blends the properties of the SkyPad with a cloth pad, combining its speed and fluidity of micro adjustments with the comfort and variable friction that cloth pads offer. And this year with the Shirinkai V2, Artisan gave me exactly what I've been looking for. The Shirinkai is a glass-coated mousepad, combining the glass surface with Artisan's signature high-quality pour-on bases. Because of this, in its X-Soft version, it offers something truly unique. It maintains all the properties of conventional glass mousepads, unlike other glass-coated pads, with its low static and dynamic friction promoting freedom of movement, but offers the stability of something a bit slower if you press down into the surface slightly. I vary between these when playing, enabling me to go from using a very fast surface to one with a bit more control when the situation calls for it, which I think has helped my aim in a lot of games by enabling me to better adapt to varying scenarios. This isn't the only edge it has over the competition, with a few more features of the surface serving to set it apart from other glass pads on the market. The first is that it barely sticks to my hand. I have no issues using the Shirinkai without a sleeve, and it only has any kind of grab to it when it's exceptionally warm in my room, the same as most cloth pads. It's also far quieter than conventional glass mousepads. The scratching sounds of the skates against the SkyPad was honestly quite distracting when playing, and it being absent here is greatly appreciated. That lack of scratchiness extends to the mousepad's feel as well. It's buttery smooth regardless of what skates you choose to use, which again is something that can't be said for conventional glass pads. All of these features are really just side notes though. The pad fixing all of the issues I had with other glass mousepads is just the cherry on top next to its amazing glide properties. I've never felt aim gains this significant from trying a mousepad before, which granted may be due to my style of aiming, but the point still stands. Its amazing combination of speed with stopping power is something I've never felt to this level before, and gives the Shirinkai the title of my favourite mousepad of 2023, and honestly, maybe my favourite of all time.
Hey guys, my name is Mortex, I'm a reviewer, and thanks a lot for Snacks for having me on this video. And my favorite mousepad is the La Onda Glaze glass pad. In my opinion, this glass pad really brings something new to the mousepad table. Because this thing is 60 by 50 centimeters and only costs 90 euros, instead of other alternatives like the Pulsar Superglide, which costs 115 euros for 49 by 42 centimeters, and the SkyPad, which costs 120 euros for a 50 by 40 centimeters. So you're getting more surface for less money. Not only that, the surface itself also feels kind of different compared to the Superglide or the SkyPad. It has this slight texture that you can feel with your skates, which sort of gives you like a little bit of feedback, which is really nice for controlling your movement, and it also causes your arm to stick less onto the glass pad itself. The backside is completely covered and it's made out of rubber. It causes the design itself to not deteriorate because the surface itself protects the backside. And it's also really sticky and your glass pad will never ever move. I'm gonna do a full review of this glass pad on my channel, and thanks again for Snacks for being in this video. And yeah.
Thank you, Snacks, for having me on the channel. I'm Log from LogPile Gaming, and today I'm going to talk a bit about my current favourite mousepad. So I spent most of 2023 using hard pads. Most of that time was spent on the TJ Exclusives Serapad Kin, which I still love. It's a great mousepad, but today I'm going to share my thoughts on the Zowie GSR2. The reason I'm talking about the GSR2 today is because it's the perfect balance of speed and control for me and my ability. When I play with the GSR2, I personally don't really notice it. And that's not to say it's so fast or frictionless that I get no feedback from the playing surface. It just means it provides what I, as an individual, intuitively need from a mousepad. I think if you find yourself either struggling to control the speed of your pad, or you're often fighting against the friction during game time, you probably aren't playing with the most optimal pad for you. The GSR2 goes almost unnoticed during game time on my desk, and that's because it suits me really well. It provides me lots of feedback through the mouse feet, and it is surprisingly fast with its dynamic glide, and it also has a really nice amount of stopping power too, which makes it quite versatile in the games and aim scenarios it performs well in. In my opinion, it's a jack of all trades mousepad. It also sticks well to my desk. It's just big enough at 470 by 390, but that said, I'd buy a bigger size if they ever release one. I don't feel like I need anything else in terms of performance characteristics from a mouse pad, and the cherry on top is it's not too expensive and it ships nice and quick too. So that's my ramble on the GSR2. Hopefully you enjoyed my reflections. Thanks for having me, Snex, once again, and gamers, let's chat more next year. Peace.
What's up guys, my name's Liam and my YouTube channel is AimAdapt, where I review some of the latest and greatest gaming and esports peripherals on the market. Sneaks, I love watching your videos, so thank you very much for inviting me to be a part of your channel and invite me along in this video. This has been just an absolutely insane year for gaming mouse pads, and I actually dread the question when people ask me what my favorite mouse pad is. If I wanted to, I can easily sit here for hours and go over some of my favorite and top releases of the year, depending on what type of game you're playing, what type of style you play with. I really do feel like there's just a lot of great solutions out there for everyone. The reality is that I don't just use one. I swap out my mouse pads daily, sometimes even multiple times a day. I usually use a different type of pad depending on the game I'm playing, or even just the mood that I'm in or how I'm feeling that day. However, I have put a lot of thought into it, and if I had to pick just one mouse pad that kind of stood out in being a little bit different and unique, as well as having a pretty iconic introduction into the community, I'm gonna have to go with none other than the 4114 Aero. When Cease and Elevate first reached out to me to be a part of the launch process, I was really shocked and surprised by not only their gaming knowledge, but their knowledge of the overall community in general. I'm a huge fan of speed pads, but from the second I started using this, to me, I noticed that there was something different and it felt pretty unique. Coming in at 530 millimeters by width, 490 millimeters by height, it sits at 4 millimeters in thickness. The size of this is really big and it works out perfectly for me. The pour on base sticks to my desk perfectly. It has nice premium stitching below the edges, and I love the uniqueness and feeling of this twill polyester spandex top. It checks all the boxes, having a humidity resistant top, and they used a consistent dynamic friction stitching. If you're applying light pressure on top of your mouse, it has a really low dynamic friction, so it's really easy to make the micro corrections or to do any type of up close tracking. And though it has a very fast glide, the texture that they implemented into the surface itself, it never felt to me like it's too slippery. And with the combination of the 4mm base, it doesn't feel like it's too plush, so it does give you some firmness, but it does allow you to push into the pad easily. So the second that you start applying weight on top of the mouse or pushing into it harder, you really start to feel a greater sense of control and even stopping power. And with those characteristics, I really do feel like this is an incredible speed pad to use regardless of what type of games that you're playing. So Sneaks, thank you again so much for inviting me, and I wish you nothing but the best going into 2024.
Very much to Snex for inviting me to be part of this year-end mousepad roundup. I greatly appreciate it. Now, this is probably not going to be that surprising to those of you who know what I found earlier this year, but the mousepad I have used this year the most, and the one I've liked the most, has been the IKEA Glass. Now, for those of you who don't know, this is an IKEA serving tray that you can modify into a pretty decent glass pad that actually trades blows, and if not outperforms a lot of the glass pads on the market right now. I've actually tested this pad against the SkyPad 3.0 and the Pulsar Superglide pad and the Serapad Gin, and it's better than all of them, and it's a $15 serving tray. So that is the pad I have been using the most this year. I've been using it for attack shooters, Overwatch, you name it. I've been using it for pretty much everything, and it's just been the most consistent pad I've used this year. I have used a lot of other pads, but the IKEA Glass has just been a standout in my opinion from everything else. Funny enough, actually, my wife actually stole it from me. She's been using it with her Pulsar X2 V2, and I'm not going to get it back now. So that is the mousepad I have been using the most this year. The IKEA Glass has just been like the king of glass this year for me. We'll have to see if maybe IKEA is cooking something up from next year, if maybe they accidentally make another really good glass pad. But for 2023, they made probably the best glass pad, and that is what I have been using the most. Anyways, so that's all for me. Thank you very much to Snakes again for inviting me to be part of this. I greatly appreciate it, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.
Hi guys, it's Jerror here, and thank you Snex for having me on this video. And the mousepad that I'm gonna talk to you about is the Super Beings Lab Memoria Pro. It's a cloth mousepad that has seen the most usage out of all my mousepads recently, and it's because of several different reasons. The quality of the pad is just fantastic. The stitching is right below the surface. It's really consistent. Also the base is like, it's really good. The firmness is just right for my uses. It sticks to my desk really well, even better than Artisan Soft. Ever since I swapped the tabletop on my desk, Artisan Soft and Mid doesn't really seem to stick well on my desk for some reason. But this does. Also, The friction is just right for my uses. Even though it's a control pad, it doesn't have a muddy levels of static friction, so micro corrections feels very effortless to do, and also the dynamic friction levels are very nice for that accurate tracking. So it just works as a really good all-arounder for my needs. And then yeah, also the colorway is just beautiful. The Arabic blue is just the most beautiful shade of blue that I've seen on a gaming related product, and I'm always a fan of the more cleaner aesthetics, so no waifus or anything, just a really nice color on a mousepad is what I like the most. Then lastly, it is very easy to keep clean, and as a dog owner I can vouch that there is no dog hair stuck on this pad at all, and never have been. So all in all, Super Beings Lab Memoria Pro is my favorite cloth pad currently. But yeah, thanks for having me on this video. Merry Christmas everyone and Happy New Year.
Hey guys, it's Skate, and the Padsmith Empress is my top mousepad of 2023 because I think that the value to price ratio is one of the best on the market. At $70, you are getting an extremely high quality product with an amazing base that stays on your desk, and you are getting a glass mousepad. Glass mousepads tend to be a little bit more expensive. Some of the larger sizes usually range from like $95 all the way up to $130, and at $70 for the Padsmith Empress, I just think that it is like the best bang for your buck if you do want to get into the glass pad market. One of the big reasons why I love this pad so much is just that the design is just so amazing. I think that Conradi absolutely crushed it, and seeing some of his upcoming works on the Crucible and some of the other unreleased pads, I just think that Padsmith and Conradi are just going to take over in 2024.
Hello everyone, it's Dylan from LethalGamingGear here. Sorry my voice is a bit hoarse, just got back from DreamHack Atlanta. But for sure, my pad of the year has to be Blitz from La Onda / The Whale. Honestly, when I first got this pad in, started testing it out, I fell in love pretty much instantly. It seems like a faster version of like the Saturn or Zero, stuff like that. It's like a little bit more of a firmer feeling to the fabric, but it's just a really, really good balance of control and tracking. It could really be used for any game due to that. And the quality from the surface to the stitching to the base. They actually have the this nice dotted PU on the bottom right here. And, you know, it has like a little bit of tack to it, so it sticks to your desk quite well. It's not going to move around, but it also isn't going to like peel up layers when it comes off either. But yeah, the stitching has also been impeccable. We've had like no quality issues with these pads at all either. So, you know, it's just really impressive, especially considering the other releases this year from them, the Riz, the Pels, and now the glazed glass pad. You know, 3 great sizes too. Now they have the 500 by 417, 490 by 490, and 600 by 500. So that pretty much covers anything and everything besides a desk pad. And the pricing is competitive, especially considering the quality. Overall, just a really solid pick and really great stuff from them this year, as a whole. Can't wait to see what else they come out with. But yeah, definitely the Blitz. If you like those faster end of control pads without it being hybrid, I definitely recommend checking this one out.
Yo, what is going on? I'll be going over my top pick this year for the mousepad that I personally put probably the most hours on ever. And that mousepad will be the LethalGamingGear Saturn Pro. This is just a mousepad that I've spent a lot of time with. I currently own about every version of something similar to the Saturn Pro. So I think when it's best for me to say that I absolutely love the Saturn Pro Surface. I absolutely do. As you see, I have the Saturn Pro, the new Saturn, the OG Saturn Pro, an unreleased Saturn Pro, and then 3 similar Surface Ys to the mousepad. But it's just become one of my favorite surfaces that ever exists. It's kind of the one I always fall back to when I'm not able to aim in any game. It's just a mousepad that I always pull out when it's time to actually like play good, because I'm yep, video games. So yeah, the Saturn Pro is going to be my #1 pick for this year. It's just an unmatched mousepad when it comes to quality, surface feel, and just everything. It's very slow, controlled, and dynamic without giving up any speed. It's just like the perfect blend of everything. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed my part. I'll give it to the next person.
Hey guys, FreshReviews here. Thanks again for letting me be involved with such a great collection of people. This is the Pulsar Superglide Polarity, and I wanted to talk about this because for me, it's my most monumental mousepad of 2023 and one that I probably use the most in terms of going back to glass pads or using them in my videos for that aesthetic in a lot of my reviews. The Polarity is something that started with me doing a design on a legal pad and getting all of the elements out there, the theme, and watching it come to fruition and being able to get this on a Pulsar Superglide is very meaningful to me. I think it's one of my most monumental things in the peripheral space in 2023, and watching the pro players get this pad and really enjoy it and post their clips, to me, that was the coolest thing in 2023 in terms of mouse pads. I think it's a little unfair for me to talk about the Superglide Polarity in terms of its level in the glass pad market, because obviously there's that bias there. It's my baby. So I do want to talk about another glass pad that I routinely frequent in my own personal gameplay, and that is the SkyPad collab with Burroughs Mind. This is something I got recently, and I just love the fact that with glass pads you get that level of aesthetic and that playability, that performance. If you like glass pads, which I do, it's a really nice thing to have such a cool aesthetic with a surface that will never die on you, a surface that will never change, never fade, never degrade over time, so you don't have slow spots. Just keep a cloth nearby, clean that bad boy off, and you are continuously good to go. But when I'm just not in the mood for a hard pad, for a glass pad, I do go back most frequently to the Tang Dao. The Tang Dao is one of the best pads, if not my favorite pad that released in terms of cloth pads in 2023. To me, it's very similar to a Artisan Zero, but a little bit smoother on the skates and something that feels just a tiny bit faster. To me, the stitching, the foam, everything about the pad is at a perfect balance that I really enjoy with either glass skates or PTFE. My favorite skates this year were the Tiger Ice V2 dots, and the combination of the dots both on cloth and glass is something that I find is an easy transition between the two. And for me, the skate combination, either with the Tang Dao or with glass pads, has been one of the things that I have performed on the best this year.
So now that everybody has listed off their top picks for 2023, I do want to give a huge thank you to everyone for being a part of this video. Also, a huge thank you to all the viewers and all the brands that have shown support over this past year. None of this would be possible without you guys, and I do want to wish everyone a happy holidays and see you all in the new year.